I want to begin by saying hey to all my subscribers. It's been a while since I made any content for this channel, and I think it's about time that I do a life update. And so I want to take you back to the year 2016. From 2016 to 2017, I began working on my private pilot certificate. And in the year 2017, I obtained my license for airplane single engine land. And from 2017 to about 2022, I accumulated around 200 flight hours. But I began feeling a little bit empty, like something was missing. Well, I got to watching some Tucker Gott videos. And needless to say, I thought that looked like a lot of fun flying low and slow like that. And I got to thinking, well, I'm not looking to injure my back. I'm not looking to injure my knees by, running into the air and then coming down and landing on my feet. And so I remembered back in the year 2004 how I had actually done some flight training for what's called a powered parachute. You could call a powered parachute the original PPG, but a powered parachute is on wheels and there's less chance of injuring your back or your legs. And a powered parachute is also a whole lot more sturdy than a powered paraglider or a PPG trike. And so I thought, hey, I think I'll go back and take some training again or do some transition training on a powered parachute. To make a long story short, in the year 2020, I did my transition training and I got my sport endorsement for powered parachute. I also purchased an SLSA PPC for training purposes. And in 2022, I got my flight instructor certificate for powered parachute. During my first year as an instructor, I was unable to start a business. This was 2022. It was just a really bad year because it was extremely windy. I personally only flew about 15 hours. And I can't imagine trying to take on a student in addition to that. At the end of 2022, after going through a very windy season and after experiencing one too many bumpy flights, I decided it was time to buy an airplane, a Cessna 150 to be exact. And the reason I did that is airplanes can handle wind a whole lot better than a PPC. I was able to come up with the purchase price for an airplane. I even had some money in reserve for any unexpected maintenance that might come up. But I had no idea how frustrating and how expensive airplane ownership could be. I only owned my airplane for 6 months. And in that 6-month period, it was in the shop, the maintenance shop, for about 2 months. And I only flew about 22 flight hours. I also spent $7,000 in maintenance. And if you wanted to equal this out in flight hours as to how much it would cost per hour, it was about $318 per flight hour. I actually made a video about this experience, and I'll provide a link in the description below. Here's a clip of one of the last videos I filmed in my own airplane. And as you can see, I was trying to do a monologue, but for a long time now, I have been struggling to get cockpit audio. I don't know if my GoPro is defective or maybe one of the audio cables is just not working, but I've had trouble, and you can see that in this video. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what I was trying to communicate. In this clip, I was talking about how I was feeling led to take a break from making aviation videos for a while. And the reason for that is I was starting to feel pretty empty inside, which I'll explain in a moment. I should also mention I was feeling led to sell my airplane, which I did shortly thereafter. So like I said, aviation was leaving me feeling empty inside, and I believe that was spiritual in nature, as I felt convicted to spend more time with the Lord. I also began feeling convicted to dedicate more time to another channel that I had started a few years ago, and it was one where I upload content that is spiritual in nature. I should also mention that I began feeling led to take a break from aviation altogether, maybe for a couple of years. And this was confirmed by some health problems I began experiencing. So let me explain. Some other activities I enjoy that I don't really focus on this channel are hiking and bicycling. Well, I was out hiking on top of a mountain one day, and I was doing some bouldering, and I slipped and I fell, and I tore the labrum in my right shoulder. Well, my shoulder hurt so badly that I could hardly open a hangar door. I could hardly unpack the parachute on my PPC, and I began realizing I needed to slow down. And with some upcoming surgeries looming, I also sold my powered parachute. So I began working on my other channel. I bought a lot of recording equipment. I really applied myself, and let me tell you, it paid off fast. I began getting thousands of views. Subscribers were racking up very quickly, and that channel was doing quite well. I started off with a series on the end times and the book of Revelation. But everything came crashing down when I mentioned something that YouTube thought was a conspiracy theory. They fact-checked my video. They shadow banned me. I began getting 0 views, 0 subscribers. And so what I did was I finished up my series, uploaded all the content, and then I stopped. Because what is the point of making content when no one's gonna see it? So as of right now, I don't own any aircraft. I did rent a Cessna 150 up until about December of 2024. It was in a hangar that had a really easy to open door, so it wasn't a big deal with my shoulder. But then I had surgery, and I've been off now for a while with physical therapy. I am, however, signed up in June to do some transition training in a Quad City Challenger. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna own another aircraft. I hope to, but I have considered purchasing another powered parachute for giving flight instruction. I've also considered buying an experimental airplane like a Quad City Challenger or maybe even a Kit Fox. Being that I'm an instructor and I want to remain somewhat active, I've considered making some ground training videos and giving access only to subscribers, but who knows? Just keep rooting for me, and I might get back into making some more content. But thank you to all my subscribers during this silent period. So get out there in the skies, have some amazing adventures, be safe, and God bless.